Hello and welcome to another tutorial from ICT. In this tutorial, we're going to be making a fireworks animation using Windows Form and C#. Let's take a look at what this project does. I'm just going to run this one now. So here we have a application where you can simply use any key on the keyboard to change the images. I have some city skyline images there, so they look nice. It's during the night. So, and then you can click anywhere on the screen, and then it will spawn a firework animation. Okay, you can just click away, and then it will work on any of these backgrounds that we have. You can also load your own. Okay, so each of these firework images are transparent and they are being drawn onto the screen. So it's pretty much using the Windows Paint event to draw the fireworks onto the screen. We will be using object-oriented programming to create the fireworks only onto the screen, and then when it's done, it can be removed right after. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a new project. Okay, so in this window, I'm going to click on create a new project. I'll choose my Windows Form.net Windows Form.net app. Click next. I'm going to name this one fireworks animation more ICT. Okay, click next. Then we can choose .NET 6. That's fine. Then click create. Okay, so for now, I'm just going to change the text of the form. You say fireworks animation more ICT. We don't need to make any changes to the form itself. We can go to the toolbox, grab a timer. Please. I'm going to call this one animation timer. Set the enable to true, and then set the interval to 20. If you downloaded the images from the More ICT website, please open them. So you have got two folders here, one for the background. So these are the background images that we have available. So it goes from 01 to 06. And then you also have another folder called images, and that has all the fireworks images inside of this one. Okay, so I'm going to copy both of these folders here. And then if I go to my Visual Studio, right click on the name of the project, go to open folder in File Explorer, go to the bin, debug, .NET 6, and then paste both of these folders inside of there. When the program is debugged, it will create the exe file here, and then we need to find that file. Will need to find both of these folders to load the images to the form. Okay, so with that done, now we can go ahead and add some of the stuff that we need for the form. There's an option here called double buffered. We can enable that to make it smoother. So the options there in the properties window, set that to true. Okay, so we're dealing with quite a few events for the form. So if I just go to the events window there, and let's go ahead and type in key up. So key up is the key is up here. Just type in keys up in the key up event, press enter, and that will add the key up event to the C# script. Go back to the design view again. Okay, let's find the mouse down event here. So mouse down there, and say it's down center. So that's the mouse when the mouse button is down on the form. Okay, and one other one we're going to need is the paint form paint event. Okay, so these are the three for the form. We will also need one for the timer. So click on the timer there and say animation timer event. Okay, so still in the form, right? We can go to the Solutions Explorer, right click on the name of the project there, go to add, and then click on class. So we're just going to create a class that's inside of the Solutions Explorer. While the class is selected, call this one firework and press enter. So this is an empty class that's going to basically help us animate the fireworks on the screen. Right, so back in the C# script, go and add a custom function here. So we can say private void setup. And so this is going to be our setup function. Void. Yep. So what we'll do is we will load up the backgrounds files inside of here, and then using the key op we should be able to change the background of the form. So right at the top there, let's go and add our list that we need. So I'm going to say list. First one we'll need is called a string. So this is going to be for the background. We're going to call it image location is equals to new list of string, and then do the brackets. And then another list we're going to need is going to be for the firework. So, and then we'll call this one fireworks list is equals to new list firework, and then do the brackets. For that we'll need a int for background number. You can just leave that one blank for now. Okay, so let's go to the setup first. So inside of the setup, we just need to load up all the images that we have in the backgrounds folder. So everything that we got from here, right? So you can add as many as you need in here. As long as they're all JPG files, they should all load up and be saved into the list. Let's try this now. So say image location equals to directory get files. Okay, and the background folder is called backgrounds. Right, and then the file that we're interested in is the .jpg. So we're going to do a star.jpg .toList. So it's going to save it all into the list basically. So get files, looking at the directory, the file type, and then it'll just loop through all the files inside of there and then save it into the image location list there. Okay, and then we'll do this .background. So when we're asking for this, what this means is this form. Okay, so and then we'll say image from file. Okay, and inside of there we can say image location, and then we can just set the first one to 0. So that way the first image will be loaded in there. Then we can say this background layout is equals to image layout stretch. And we want it to be stretched across the form. Okay. And we also need to run this function so we can see it working. Yes, okay, we'll run this and see if it loads the background. And it could not find the path. Fireworks, debug backgrounds. Okay, no problem. Let's find out what the problem is. Oh yeah, that's because my folder is called background, not backgrounds. Yeah. Okay. Let's go and try it again. There you go. So I got the first background working there. Then come back here and change that to 1, and it should load up the second one. Okay, nice. Okay, good. I'm going to leave it to 0 for now. Okay, so in this case, what we'll do is we'll do the key is up function here, so then we can just change it using the whenever the keys are pressed or released. So here we can just say if background number is less than image location count -1. So we're just going to use the -1 as a safeguard, so that way the background number doesn't exceed the background location count. While the background number is less than the image count, so there's 6 images in there, so as long as it's less than 6, it can increment. Otherwise, we're going to set the background number to 0. Okay, and out of that if statement, we'll say here this the background image will be equals to image from file, and we can say image location. Inside of that, we're going to pass in the value for the background number. So let's try this now. Okay, so we got the first one loaded. I'm just going to randomly press a button. I'm literally just using the caps lock here. So yep, go and cycle through. all of them. That's great. Okay, so now let's do the fireworks class. So I still got the fireworks class open from before. If you haven't, you can just double click on the fireworks class from the Solutions Explorer and it will just open it up for you. Okay, so let's do all the variables that we need for this one. So we're going to need a few public variables. So we've got caps lock on. Say int, we're going to need height, int width. We'll also need a public int frames, public int current frame, a public point. We're going to need a point to determine the position. It goes to new point. So by using the point, we are able to sort of capture the x and y value of the firework image. Okay, we also need a public. Let's do this one as a list. So let's do a list called string, and this one can be image location as well. New list. That's over here. Remove is animation complete. We want to check if the animation is still playing or is it completed. And then we also need a public image called firework. That's fine. So these are the variables that we need here for now, and then we'll do a public firework like so. So this is the constructor for this class. All right. The reason there's a green line underneath it is because it's a there's a couple of values that are null here, so it's not going to cause any issues, but Visual Studio does warn you, like, okay, you got a couple of values that are null here, so they don't have any, they've been declared but they don't have any values stored inside of them, but we will be adding values to it as we move along anyway, so it's nothing to worry about there. Okay, we also need another function here to animate the firework. The public void animate firework. Okay, so inside the constructor, we're going to load all the images from the images folder. So I'm going to make sure I got the right folder this time around. It's called images. Okay, so I'm going to say image location is equals to directory, get files. And then we insert the images folder. We want all the PNG files this time, right? So because that's the transparent file type. To list. Okay, so all the transparent images files will be then loaded into the images location list, right? Let's set the height to 200, width to a 200 as well. And now the firework image. Oh, I'm doing it wrong. Okay, firework image from file. Okay, so the firework image will be changing as well. So the same way that we're changing the background image, we'll be changing the firework image in a similar way. So that way it looks like an animation as it's progressing through the frames. I'm going to say image location, and I want it to start with the 0. So I want it to start with the first, very first image in there. Okay, and then we're going to say frames is equals to image location.count. All right, so let's do the animation function here. So this is just going to set everything up for us. And then the animation one is going to check if the current frame is less than frames minus 1. So it's a similar way we did the background one before. Let's say current frame is ++, so as long as it's less than the overall frames. And then we can say firework is equals to image.from file, okay, image location, and then we just show the current frame as the animation. Okay. Else, so if the frame has now exceeded the total frame, let's say current frame is equal to 0. Reset that back, animation complete to true because it's done its animation now. Firework, we can nullify the image inside of it, and then image location to clear. Like this. Yeah. So we're just clearing the list because if we don't need this class anymore, then we definitely won't need the image location. So all the files that is loaded inside, we definitely don't need those, right? So we're just going to basically clear the list and then clear that. So then later on, when C# does this auto garbage collection from the memory, it will see all these nullified values and it will just remove them from the program. So that way it's not basically holding on to those values for no reason. Okay, so these are the two things that we need for the firework class. through the constructor, and then we get the animate firework function. Okay, let's go back to the main script for the form 1. Right, so right now we do have a position point here, which we will be using inside the mouse down one. Okay, so for the mouse down, what we want to do is we want to capture the mouse point, so mouse position, and then we also want to apply the mouse position to the fireworks X and Y values as well. Okay, and the only time we're going to be adding the firework to the list is when the mouse is clicked on the form. Okay, so let's create a new point here. New point called mouse position is equals to new point. And then after that we say mouse position, its position.x is equals to e.x. So the e is for the event here, right? So because we already linked the event, mouse event, to the form, so we can access a lot of this information from there. So whatever we need specifically. So in this case, we specifically need the x and y values of the mouse cursor or the mouse click position. Mouse position.y equals to e.y. Okay, and after that we can create a new instance of the firework. So firework, right? And then we can just call this one, say fireworks, like so. A new firework. So this is creating a new instance of the firework class, and now we have access to all these public values that we created, including the function. And then we can say fireworks. Actually, I'm just going to call this one new fireworks, so it's not confusing. Okay. New firework dot position dot x is equals to, so right now we can do it like this. So we can say position x is equals to mouse position dot x, which will work exactly fine. The only problem here is going to be whenever we click on the form, it's basically going to spawn it in a corner instead of in the middle. Okay, so I think what I'll do is I'm going to leave it like this for now, and then we'll come back and fix this one once it starts to work a little bit more. So it'll make a little bit more sense about why would we add a little bit more to it to make it center. Okay, so let's go with the firework again. New firework dot position dot y is equals to mouse position dot y. Okay, and then lastly we'll just say firework list add, and then obviously we add the new firework to the list. Okay, so that's all we need for this one, right? And after that we can go ahead and do the paint and the timer. Okay, so the paint event is responsible for basically drawing anything that's on the form, right? So we're going to be drawing the firework from all the firework images from the firework list. So this image here will be drawn onto the screen using the position x, position y, height and width. So to do that from a list, we just need to run a for each loop. So let's do a for each loop here and say we are after the firework type, and call this one new firework as well. And then in firework list dot to list, so that way it's not affecting the original list, it's just going to make a counter list for us to work with. Okay, so and then we can say if new firework dot animation complete is equals false. So basically it's still animating, so as long as the animation complete boolean, this boolean here, is false, we should be able to draw it onto the screen. If it's true, then we don't need to draw it. E.graphics dot draw image, and we say firework, new firework dot firework. That's the image that we are loading there. Okay, and right after we need the position x, position y, new firework dot position dot x, new firework dot position dot y, and new firework dot width, and new firework dot height. So this is all we need to basically tell the paint event to draw these in these positions. So you have the image, position x, position y, width, and then height. Okay, and then lastly we need to do the timer event. So inside the timer event, we'll do the similar thing. So we can say if I want to make sure that we at least have one inside of the list there before it starts animating. So to do that, we can say fireworks list is not equals to null. So there's at least one object inside of there, and then we can start animating. Otherwise, it's just going to keep running the loop and it might just show an error. It has happened in the past. So by adding this if statement, I managed to actually keep the application running relatively smoothly. Okay, inside of the if statement, we can run the for each loop. So similar to the one that we did for the paint, we can say firework is a type, and then we'll call it firework, and then fireworks list. The to list is fine because we're actually going to be removing them from the list as well now, so we need to use the to list. Okay, and then we can say if firework firework.animation.complete is equals false. Okay, so if it is false, then what we'll do is we'll say firework.animate firework. So that's the function that's going to be animating the firework images. So that's going to be changing the images from the current frame onwards, right? So as long as it's less than the total frames. So we're going to be running the function here as long as that particular fireworks animation complete is false, and then else. Okay, so and if the animation complete boolean is true for that specific firework, then we can just remove it from the fireworks list. So list.remove, and then let's remove it from the list there. Okay, so with that done, this part is quite important because I do often forget this. So when you're using paint in timer, we do need to invalidate the form because it's going to be painting it once. So if you invalidate it, you will delete everything and then validate it again with the new values, right? So because we're changing the sprites, we want to make sure every 20 milliseconds the form is being updated. So we can just do this quite easily. We can just say this to invalidate, and then we'll just delete everything and repaint it every 20 milliseconds. Okay, so let's try and running this now. As you can see, if I press now, okay, so right now where I'm pressing, the firework is working. It's quite nice, and I can check it with the different backgrounds. But if you notice where my mouse cursor is versus where the firework is being spawned is not quite correct, right? Because it's sort of so if you imagine like this window here, if I wanted it to follow the mouse, right, and if I gave it the value of the mouse cursor X and mouse cursor Y, it will follow the mouse from this corner. So that's what's happening here. So if I press there, the basically the firework is being spawned from the corner. So right now I'm in the corner of the firework there, right? So I need to move the mouse half width of the firework from the X value and half width from the top value. That way it will spawn in the middle of the mouse cursor. Okay. See better here. Okay, so to do that, we'll just go back to the form mouse down event. And then right here, we just say minus, right? New firework dot width divided by 2. Right, so it's going to half that and then put the mouse cursor in the middle of it. Okay, I'm going to do the same for the Y as well. I'm going to say new firework dot height divided that by 2 as well. Okay, so that way the mouse cursor, whenever it's pressed, the value is going to be passed to the class, will be the center of the mouse cursor, not the top left of the mouse cursor. Okay, so if I try this again. Okay, so right now, as you can see, as soon as I press it, my mouse cursor and the image is in the center of it. So it looks like whatever I'm pressing is basically animating it from the center. It's still kind of fun to do this. I think first when I made this one, I just clicked away for like good 5 minutes. Okay, so, the source code and the images will be available. The link is in the description, obviously. If you guys have any issues with it, please let me know in the comments. Other than that, if you enjoyed it, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It will help me out a lot. and hope you have a good day. I will see you on the next tutorial.